It's the France, and we're here for AEW on TNT review, a special Saturday edition due to the NBA playoffs, where we are on our way to All Out on September 5th, 2020. This show was absolutely a great show tonight. I know NXT's got TakeOver going on tonight, but this show was just great. The fact that you had a title match, you had FTR taking on Private Party, a surprise appearance by an NWA champion, and a more teasing towards our four horsemen of sorts in AEW. Plus, Chris Jericho makes a stipulation for his match with Orange Cassidy on September 5th that nobody would see coming. But we start the show off immediately after the NBA playoff game was over, going up with FTR versus Private Party. Now, to top this all off, this match started and we saw in FTR's corner Tully Blanchard. Tully Blanchard, of course, has been managing Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears nowhere to be found. Tully Blanchard was actually wearing a jacket that had FTR on the back with his name on the front. So FTR has gotten themselves a manager. Will this lead to the four horsemen of the AEW? More than likely, I don't know if it's going to be Shawn Spears. Maybe Tully Blanchard turns on Shawn Spears, because Shawn Spears has really been nothing but an afterthought after losing to Cody. He hasn't done anything. He's been a regular on AEW Dark. Yes, he's got the black glove now, but is that doing anything for him? I'm not sure. But we will see what happens as time goes on. Cody's been teasing the AEW's Four Horsemen going to be happening at All Out. Will that happen? I have ideas of what's going to happen after what we see going on next week. However, FTR Private Party. This was a really good match. Now, AEW is going to have fans, actual legit fans, in the crowd next week. Not a full capacity, 10 to 15% depending on who comes with how big their party is going to be. They're going to have bubble, they're going to have pods, you and your family, your friends and family who paid to come are going to be there, and everything under the sun. He is taking the heat completely for this match, from start to majority of this, start to 3/4 of the way through. He's just getting his ass dominated. And I'm thinking to myself when I'm watching this match, is the way this match was put out and laid out would have been great for next week, especially because you knew it was going to come, as it is every time. The hot tag to Isaiah Cassidy would have been great for a live crowd next week. So having this match tonight built this way just felt like this would have been a better showing to have this match built the way they did tonight next week. But that's just me. But yes, Isaiah Cassidy eventually does tag in. He goes ballistic, hot tagging all around. Got the heat going on, beating the hell out of FTR. In blind tag to Wheeler, who hits a spine buster, double A spine buster if you want to know. Cover, and it's broken up by Cassidy. Hardwood sends him out to the floor. Cassidy tries for a splash, and Tully pulls Dax out of the way. So Cassidy crashes and burns. Wheeler then launches Quinn shoulder first into the ring post. They hit the Goodnight Express. 1, 2, 3. FTR are your winners. Did you expect anyone else to win? Now, we'll talk about later what's going on with FTR and everything that's going to be happening next week. Earlier in the day, we hear Jon Moxley say MJF campaign is amusing. Makes for good TV. He says MJF has some good jokes about him, but he missed a lot of stuff. If you want to ask anybody, ask my wife. She'll give you a list, and I love how he just mentions his Renee Young after all the rumors and pretty much confirmation of what's going to be happening with Renee Young, which we'll talk about tomorrow. MJF is talented and hopes MJF is right about being the one to lead the AEW to the next 25 years. He wants to see this company succeed. He's not going to last another 25 years because he gets up the way he feels when he gets up in the morning. He'll be lucky to last another 18 months. Tease right there for Jon Moxley. He hopes this was funny. Moxley says he's not going to last another 25 years, but he hopes MJF will one day get out of his mom's basement, lose his virginity, and wins the title, but it's not going to be at All Out. He's going to take MJF down. He'll be in heaven while MJF looks for a way out. Then the whole world will find out what MJF has been hiding. I thought the entire Well, I hope one day you're going to move out of your mom's basement and you're going to... I just thought that shit was hilarious. Absolutely funny as hell. Wearing a neck brace, MJF was with his campaign crew and he says, Castro, Genghis Khan, name somebody else. He's like, no, they were all savages who would like hurt and maim people, but they are nobody like Dictator John. He's a gutless coward for attacking him from behind, not even to attack him from the front. And he tears up and says, one day he'd like to have kids and play with them. Pop, can we play ball? No, son, because I'm mangled, and that's on you, John. That was a great fucking line. The waterworks by MJF was great. And he says he might not be able to do actions like that. And he says the paradigm shift is an abomination, and he can't finish it because he's hurting supposedly from the paradigm shift from last week. His legal counsel then steps in and says MJF got so worked up he can't even talk. He then says they are looking to get the paradigm shift banned. First it was MJF, but next it could be Wardlow or anyone else. And this could have ended MJF's career. So Jon Moxley could just walk around ending people's career. Who's next? And it needs to end. They put out a petition to get the move banned, and 5 million signatures, which I highly doubt that, were signed. They put a proposal to have the match, the move banned from the match, but all Moxley has to do is sign it. Why wouldn't he? He's a man of the people. He's a fighting champion. Why should one little move be a big deal to the badass like him? If he doesn't sign it, I'm going to sue you and take everything you have from your house, your money, and everything. And when you have nothing left, MJF will take your title. And under his and just intensity, MJF is like, sign it, John. Sign it. Sign it. And that is that. Then we go back to the ring and we have an 8-man tag team match. Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, QT Marshall, and Dustin Rhodes with Marco Stunt versus The Butcher, The Blade, Phoenix, and Pentagon Jr. We are 2 matches in and nobody's got an entrance tonight. It feels like they were crunched for time when they were taping the show, because this is a taped show. It felt like they were crunched for time to try and fit this into 2 hours, so they cut the first 2 matches entrances. So this was another hot mess of a match. I hate 6-man matches. I think are tolerable because it's never this crazy. 8, 10, 15, 20-man tag team matches, whatever they want to do, are just out of hand. And this was one of those ones too. But Phoenix, again, Phoenix, I can see wrestle anytime. This guy is fantastic. So is his brother, Pentagon Jr. But like I said, this match was just all out of hand. Now, towards the end of the match, it became apparent that apparently on Dark this past Tuesday, Lucha's Bros and Butcher and Blade were having a little bit of a problem. And tonight it continued on. As they get close to the end of the match, it looked like Pentagon was going to go for the package power driver. Butcher is on top of the ropes, trying to probably do some kind of double team. They get pissed off against each other. Pentagon shoves the Butcher. Pentagon shoves the Butcher into Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy rolls him up 1, 2, 3, and the babyfaces get the win. After the match, though, Butcher, Blade, Pentagon, and Phoenix barking at each other, arguing, pissed off, when Eddie Kingston makes his way out to the ring. We haven't seen Eddie Kingston since his loss to Cody in the TNT Championship match a couple weeks ago. And he goes over each and every one of these guys, calling the Butcher, the Blade, the Butcher, one of the baddest men in this company. Pentagon being a hell of a guy, one of the best luchadors out there. He's been up and down the roads with the Blade. How they've been together, up and down through thick and thin, and how he says he loves Phoenix, and he's one of the best luchadors too. And they only beat you guys because you're divided. Come with me, get a hug in here and everything. Let's make this work. And it looks like Eddie Kingston has a new group of the Butcher, the Blade, Phoenix, and Pentagon Jr. This is AEW is going to become the company of factions. Holy shit. The It's going to be interesting to see where this goes, but it's great to see they finally found out something for the Butcher, for Eddie Kingston to do. Eddie Kingston can wrestle here and there. He doesn't need to all the time. He is a much better promo than he is a professional wrestler. And him being the guy for these guys is going to be great. Now, I saw some people talking about how Pac is watching Eddie Kingston take the Lucha Bros out of Death Triangle. And I'm sitting, and I replied to somebody, I was like, Death Triangle was a victim of COVID. Whatever the plans they had for Death Triangle got axed when Pac was sent to the UK and stuck there, and Pentagon and Phoenix were down in Mexico for the time that they were. Death Triangle was DOA right then and there. As soon as the COVID hit, the lockdowns happened, and everybody was stranded from able to come back, Death Triangle was done. So, here we go. Still upset we didn't get to see that street fight between the Best Friends and the Lucha Bros, which they teased about doing back in March. But yeah. Early in the day, Britt Baker's in the gym with Rebel, Penelope Ford, and Clip Sabian are off to the side and they're kissing, making out, all that good stuff. Baker says they need to all lay off because they're passing a lot of bacteria between them. She offers a special couples discount next time they come in to get their teeth checked. She then asks if Ford could help her out her issues with Big Swole, since Swole didn't say that what kind of match she wants it all out. How about a handicap match? Ford agrees. It'll be 3-on-1. Rebel, Britt Baker, and Penelope Ford. Then we have Orange Cassidy out for his very first interview ever. Tony asked Cassidy about his big victory against Chris Jericho. Cassidy doesn't say anything, and out comes Chris Jericho. He makes his way out to the stage. He gives some props to Cassidy and wants to toast him because, yes, he's only lost 3 times in AEW. He lost to Scorpio Sky. He lost to Jon Moxley, which he didn't say this. I'm just saying who he's lost to. But he did lose last week to the man who puts his hands in his pocket. So, he wants to toast him. But before that, he has to remind him that I have 1 win, you have 1 win, and where I come from, we settle that in it. We need to have a rubber match. Obviously, he's talking about WWE because that's how WWE settles all their feuds. 1 wins, the other one wins, and then they have a rubber match with the one that they want to win the feud going over. So, he makes a match. He says, I came up with one of the greatest matches. He did mention about coming up with Money in the Bank, which, yes, that was Chris Jericho's idea. Then he says, well, I came up with the Stadium Stampede and Money in the Bank without saying Money in the Bank. He said a match with briefcase and a ladder. I have come up with a crazy idea. How about at All Out, I'm a man with the bubbly, you're a man of orange juice. Let's put 2 and 2 together and make the Mimosa Mayhem match. The Mimosa Mayhem match is going to be 80 gallons of freshly squeezed orange juice mixed with 500 cases of the bubbly, with the winner decided by either pinfall, submission, or thrown into the tank of mimosa. He then asked Cassidy if it's success. Cassidy does the weak thumbs up, so that match is on. At All Out, the second match that we got is Chris Jericho, which Chris is Orange Cassidy, which we all knew was going to happen, in a Mimosa Mayhem match. I think Jericho had a little bit too much of the bubbly tonight, or when this show was taped. My goodness. To celebrate, he invites the rest of his Inner Circle buddies. They get onto the ring, they do a toast, and Jericho tells them to get it. The Inner Circle then beat up the best friends who were in the ring already. They grab Orange Cassidy, he gets slammed down, he gets pulled up, and they start waterboarding him with multiple bottles of the bubbly. So, yeah. I said it tonight, stupid idea, it's stupid, but it's AEW, we'll see what's going to happen. A Mimosa Mayhem match. Only Chris Jericho could come up with something like that. Will it work? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it worked, but that is something we'll have to wait for next on September 5th. That's only like 2 weeks away or so. Alex Reynolds, John Silver, and Alan Angels, which is 3, 4, and 5, versus the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, the Elite. So this was an okay match. Wasn't anything to write home about. The Elite win the match with a one-winged angel. Alan Angels got knocked the hell out with double super kicks in midair. You remember when Aleister Black did his moonsault off the middle apron, and Adam Cole hit him with a super kick to knock him out? That's pretty much what you got here with Alan Angels trying to do a moonsault off the top rope and getting eaten 2 super kicks. One-winged angel after an assisted indie taker. 1, 2, 3. After the match, Omega grabs a chair, throws it into the ring, sets it up at an awkward angle, goes to powerbomb 5 through the chair, but Matt moves the chair aside. Omega powerbombs him anyway. They have an argument. Omega looks to get the chair again. Matt and Nick try to talk him out of it, which they look to do so. And the cracks in the Elite also seem to be happening as Kenny Omega is starting to lose it. Kenny Omega is starting to bring some of that cleaner back that I don't know if anybody wants to see the cleaner or not. But Kenny Omega is definitely putting everything into a crazy situation. Backstage, Alex Marvez says next week there's a tag team gauntlet match. The National Nightmares will start against the Young Bucks, the 3 and 4, number 3 and 4. Winner of that will go up against the number 2 team, the Best Friends, and the winner of that, whoever survives that, gets to go up against the number 1 ranked FTR. And the team standing at the end will win will go on to face Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega at All Out. Marvez then asks FTR about their relationship with Tully Blanchard. Wheeler brings up that last week and says that if they want to bring their best, they have to have the tag team gold, just like Tully said last week. Tully then says it's all about getting from almost the best, stepping over the threshold, and becoming the best. He says FTR is destined for a good place, first to get through next week to win it all, then win it all out. Harwood goes to but Hangman Page comes in. He's a little tipsy, asking them what the heck that was last week. Them attacking Rock and Roll Express. Wheeler says they felt disrespected by Rock and Roll Express when they turned their backs on them. Harwood says they faked the knee injury because they had to see who he really trusts. When he went to the back, there were 2 guys with him when the doctors were around and everything, and it was you 2 right here, Wheeler and Page. Harwood talks to Page and ultimately says, "Good luck to all of us." Basically, this is what's going to happen. Young Bucks are probably going to win. See, I don't want. They can't do if they do this wrong and have the Young Bucks win the first 2 matches, then go on to face FTR. That's a massive, massive mistake. Young Bucks versus FTR should not have a tag team match against each other until after All Out, when FTR win the tag team titles, and we'll talk about that, because if and when FTR wins next week, they win the tag team titles at All Out with Hangman Page turning on Kenny Omega. It's going to happen. It's definitely how it's going to happen. Moving on here, we had Darby Allin versus Will Hobbs. This was Mike Chioda's back at the referee this match. Mike Chioda goes from refereeing 2 of the biggest matches last week to reffing the jobber match of the week. My goodness. Will Hobbs gets some offense in early, but Darby Allin ends up winning with the coffin drop, 1, 2, 3. After the match, Taz stands up, says he has a little surprise for Allin. Allin says Team Taz is doing great, but we got a new member, and his name is Darby 2. And Darby's music plays. Out walks Ricky Starks with face paint on like Darby, words letters etched across his chest, skateboard over top of him, and then he pulls it down, grabs a mic, and says, he talks to Allin and mocks him. He says he brings up Allin shredding his back with a skateboard and thumbtacks while Allin looks on. Brian Cage comes in the ring from behind, hits him with the FTW Championship. Stark gets in the ring and says Allin is a clown, a joke. Says he doesn't need face paint to be somebody. I'm always going to be better than you in every single way, life is a joke, and you're the biggest joke of them all. Then jams the skateboard into Allin's midsection. Taz says Starks is just getting warmed up. Starks with not so great looking coffin drop from the second rope, which that's how it was supposed to be. And that was that. Obviously, clearly, we're getting Darby Allin versus Ricky Starks at All Out, which is fine. That's going to be a hell of a match. I'm sure that match will be made between now and next week, maybe the week after that. But yeah, Darby Allin and Ricky Starks are going to give you a match that's going to be look into the future of AEW with those two, MJF, Jungle Boy. Those four right there alone are going to be a major piece into the show, into the AEW brand for the years to come. Guys like Chris Jericho, guys like Jon Moxley, even guys like Cody, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Brodie Lee, Colt Cabana are here to help build this brand and set guys like a MJF, a Ricky Starks, Jungle Boy, Darby Allin up for the future. And it's going to be great. Now, during the picture-in-picture, which, my God, oh my God, picture-in-picture is JR's new favorite thing to say. Because when we have a match that's going to have picture-in-picture, he says it over and over and over again like it's the best thing out there. It's like the best thing since sliced bread. God fucking damn it. Time after time after time, all I hear is picture-in-picture, picture-in-picture. Wait for this picture-in-picture, picture-in-picture. Shut the fuck up about picture-in-picture. Just say, hey, we're going to commercial break. We'll see you guys after the break. And go to that. When SmackDown had picture-in-picture, and SmackDown did it first, we didn't hear Corey Graves and Byron Saxton say, oh, we're going to break right now, but make sure to stay tuned for picture-in-picture. No, they went to commercial break, and picture-in-picture happened on its own. Shoving it down our throats is so goddamn annoying, it's not even funny. It is nauseating. That's all like him and Tony Schiavone want to just be like, picture-in-picture, picture-in-picture, picture-in-picture. If you wanted to play a drinking game, this is just like Thunderdome yesterday. If you wanted to play a drinking game on how many times in the show you hear picture-in-picture, you would be fucking drunk off your ass. Cool it with the fucking picture-in-picture. It's not that fucking hard. All you have to do is say, hey, we're going to commercial break. See you when we get back. Don't have to keep harping on picture-in-fucking-picture. But during this picture-in-picture, Sammy Guevara comes out with his signs. And he's pulling them off, and they're all saying stuff. And he's making fun of Matt Hardy. When all of a sudden he pulls some out, and he doesn't realize it. And they're going from him making fun of Matt Hardy to them starting to... They go from being like black lettering to blood red. And Sammy Guevara doesn't realize until after... Like one side broke, and then he looks over and he's like, what? He pulls his sign away and it says, deleted. And he's like, oh, he like puts his head back, hand over his head. Oh, shit. And Matt Hardy from behind with the chair shot. Matt beats him up with the chair. And then they cut out the picture-in-picture and we go to commercial break. We come back and Hardy is beating the piss out of Sammy Guevara with this chair. Takes him, throws him off the stage into the ring announcer's table. And sends him and beats him and goes to get a chair. Goes to get the same exact type of chair that he got hit with. And was going to throw it in the Sammy Guevara's face. But referees come down to stop that. And Sammy Guevara gets taken away. And Matt Hardy says he wants to end. It's not over till he ends Sammy Guevara. So that is going to be interesting to see where we go next with Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara. Because this is far from over. Big surprise here as we move on here. NWA last year in November started their YouTube series, NWA Power. They were bringing back classic NWA professional wrestling with a modern coat of paint. And before the pandemic hit, their women's champion is now Thunder Rosa. Well, Thunder Rosa is, even by name, the NWA women's champion, was on this show in a promo. She heard Women's Champion Sheeta make a challenge. You asked for it. You're getting it. She says she wants to help Sheeta put the women's division on the map. All out, Rosa wants Sheeta, and she wants that title. Says a bunch of shit in Spanish that I don't understand because I don't speak a lick of Spanish. And Thunder Rosa is now working with the NWA, with AEW. The NWA, AEW is going to be great, not just for the AEW, but it's going to be great for the NWA. For sure. NWA hasn't done anything since February. Since they had their tapings that were going to go into the Crockett Cup, which got canceled because of everything that's been going on. And the NWA needs something to keep people, people to have, what I want to say, to keep the NWA in people's thoughts and stuff. And bringing Thunder Rosa in is great. Next thing you know, Nick Aldis could show up. Next thing you know, James Storm and Eli Drake could show up. When the FTR wins, we could have a tag team match between champion versus champion, FTR versus James Storm and Eli Drake. No titles on the line, just having that. Maybe Jon Moxley or MJF, which probably Jon Moxley if he keeps the championship, versus Nick Aldis. Maybe we could have some kind of invasion angle, which I really don't want to see. I hate invasion angles, where one company's trying to, one group is trying to take out a company. It never works, and the person always trying to come in to take out the other company gets destroyed, gets beat down every time. We don't need an invasion angle. If you want to do and this is would be great. If you wanted to do the final pay-per-view of the year for AEW be NWA versus AEW, I'm all for it. You could have both world title matches on the line. You could have all the gold you could have gold, like both world title matches. Maybe the tag team titles for one company and the women's title for the other company. And one match you could have Team NWA versus Team AEW inside Blood and Guts. Could you think about that? If AEW can make this happen in November or December, whenever they have the final pay-per-view of the year. NWA versus AEW with an NWA versus AEW Blood and Guts match. If we have a full crowd, that would be fantastic. If we have any crowd, that would be fantastic. But Thunder Rosa coming to face Shida for the Women's Championship at All Out is just the start of whatever they're going to do between the NWA and AEW. And it is great for professional wrestling to have these two companies come together. It helps the NWA. It's going to help AEW too because they get access to their talent. And it's just going to be a great overall. Ivelisse and Diamante versus Brandi Rhodes and Ali Tag Team Tournament Cup Finals. This match did not go very long at all. Ivelisse and Diamante win the Tag Team Tournament. Thank goodness, because it honestly, until the match ended, I honestly felt like we were going to have the clear-cut nepotism of the Rhodes family come out there and show you that, hey, the women's division is going to be built around Brandi for years to come, and we don't need that. Brandi Rhodes is not a good wrestler. Allie's okay. She needs more time, but Brandi Rhodes is not a wrestler. She has never been good at wrestling. She needs to just go be the chief brand officer and Cody's wife. And if she wants to work on her promo skills, she could be a manager. But inside the ring, no thank you. But Ivelisse and Diamante are your champions of the tournament. Thank goodness the right team won. Next week's show on Thursday, April 27th, which will be the first AEW show since the day the whole pandemic stuff happened. They were in Utah. We'll have some real fans, not friends of the family, but real fans who bought tickets to see this show and are coming to Florida to watch this show. We're going to have an interesting card. Britt Baker, Rebel, and Penelope Ford will take on Big Swole in a handicap match. The Natural Nightmares versus the Young Bucks versus the Best Friends versus FTR. Winner gets Hangman and Omega and All Out for the tag team titles. Jericho returns to commentary. Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara in a tables match, and Jon Moxley takes on Jon Moxley and MJF sign on the dotted line for their match at All Out. Now, I'm going to say that that this contract signing has got a lot to live up to after what Cody and Chris Jericho did last year when they signed their contract. I mean, that was one of the best contract signings in wrestling history. So, can MJF and Jon Moxley top it? We'll have to wait and see. Cody Rhodes versus Brodie Lee, AEW TNT Championship match. This gave me Brock Lesnar, John Cena 2014 flashbacks. This was brutal. Cody Rhodes starts off, punches in the corner. And then Brodie Lee hits a drop kick, throws him down to the floor, and he just batters and beats Cody up. Cody gets zero offense after that early flurry. Big, huge discus lariat. 1, 2, 3. Brodie Lee dominated Cody. Brodie Lee is your new AEW TNT champion and what could be a glorified squash match. It's a good way to get Brodie Lee, show how dominant Brodie Lee can be, and especially anybody who thinks that Brodie Lee took a major hit when he faced Jon Moxley and lost the way he did. This match right here just showed you that that's not going to happen. Any thoughts of him not having any momentum after that loss to Jon Moxley, yeah, they just got it all back with the fact that he just destroyed the Golden Goose, the Prince of Wrestling, Cody, in a one-sided affair. Wow. I'm sitting there and I'm watching this discus lariat 1, 2, 3, and I'm like, wow. I wonder how people are going to feel with the fact that you had for weeks Cody. Now, the whole story could be is that Cody did this open challenge for weeks and it hurt Cody. He was damaged. They even talked about on commentary how he's had rib problems, his arm now. He's been taking a lot of damage over the last few weeks because other than once or twice not having a match or being in a tag team match, he's wrestled pretty much every week since Double or Nothing. So now he is no longer champion. And then after the match, he's just laying there, arms and he's not moving at all. So after the match, medical staff check on Cody while Dark Order all comes to celebrate with Lee. Tony Schiavone goes into the ring with Lee. He said nobody thought we could do that. Nobody believed in the Dark Order. Nobody believed in Brodie Lee. Dark Order is the top, and AEW has a problem. Lee says he never got a chance. But when he finally gets one, he did what he did. He knocked it out of the park. Cody gets stretched out in the ring. Before going to the back, he gave a thumbs up. Dark Order is looking at Arn Anderson, and they end up attacking him. Arn Anderson did fight a couple of them off. Of course, Silvers and Reynolds. Lee then kicks him in the midsection, then punches the face. Lee then grabs Cody. They grab Cody and they bring him back in, and Lee flips him off the stretcher. As the rest of the group clear out everyone else, Lee has a black bag and just whaps Cody, and you just hear this thud. What could be in the bag? He cracked Cody over the skull with it. Brodie then holds the title over him, while the rest of the Dark Order bring up a beaten Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall. Brandy then runs out and covers her husband and says, "Stop, that's enough." Now, a couple months ago, that would have been the end of it because there was no woman in the Dark Order. But she forgot that there was Anna Jay. Anna Jay walks over, grabs puts Brandy in a rear naked choke, puts her out, and they all celebrate as Brodie Lee is your new TNT champion. And he dumps out the bag, and it was remnants of the old TNT championship, the one that Cody won at Double or Nothing. Now, is it the actual title that was the TNT Championship before it was saying? Probably not. They probably took a bunch of metal and broke it up, took some red fabric and just red stuff and just ripped it up and stuff and put it in a bag. I highly doubt that they took the original TNT Championship and actually destroyed it just for this portion, just for a one-time spot. I don't see that happening. Now, he dumps it out and he says, that title is yours, while this one is mine, holding up the TNT Championship. And that was the end of the show. Brodie Lee, your new AEW TNT champion, and a new dawn for the Dark Order, who finally get their first taste of gold in the group. But AEW, really solid show tonight. Can't wait to see what happens next Thursday, especially with actual real fans there. I hope it doesn't blow up in AEW's face, because a lot of people are already people are like, oh, how dare AEW. AEW is doing it the best they can with so many things that they could do. They're doing what they can do. They're giving you... It's an open-air venue. Out of all the companies who are doing wrestling right now, and anybody who has an actual crowd, which is AEW and New Japan, the likelihood of somebody getting COVID in New Japan Pro Wrestling shows is a higher chance than it is an AEW show. Why? Because AEW is in an open-air arena, while New Japan is in a closed arena. Outside of your pod in AEW, the likelihood of you or any of the wrestlers or the commentary getting sick is slim and none, because it's open air. It's an open air venue. They're not going to be breathing in the same air that other people are breathing in, because it is, again, open air. It will be interesting to see how it goes. I hope everything goes well, and I can't wait for next Thursday to see what the follow-up is to this vicious assault on the Nightmare family. Not just Cody got destroyed, the entire Nightmare family. And people are wondering, where was Kenny? Where was the Young Bucks? Cody Rhodes has been out of the Elite since the beginning. I wouldn't say since the beginning. I would say since COVID happened. I know, yes, it was supposed to be Cody and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega with Matt Hardy. Well, one of the Young Bucks, I think it was Nick and Matt Hardy in the Blood and Guts. But since COVID happened, Cody and everything's been going down. Cody's been on his own. The Young Bucks and Kenny Omega doing the Elite thing and everything else. Cody really hasn't been a part of the Elite since the show started. He was for a little bit, but it's been mostly Cody by himself. Cody, Cody, Dustin, QT, Brandy, that's the Nightmare family with Arn Anderson, and that's what you're going to have. But this has been your AEW on TNT review. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter at The France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/The France Club. Find me on Instagram at The France Club. And I will see you guys tomorrow for Unscripted in the morning and some